Hello, people. Welcome back to Grasshopper TV. I'm Grasshopper, and I would just like to discuss me not getting the Rhino Hi-Fi, I guess.
Cut.
Hey, I'm just going to get this started and say once you get to know me a little better, I get a little obsessive about certain records. So this is my Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bollocks collection. I have sold a few over the years, but this is what I have. I always wanted to do an entire room, floor to ceiling, to walls, to everything of just this, because this video meant this album meant a lot to me, but I should say it started as a tape for me. I've talked about it before. I had a punk uncle, and they played me, the Sex Pistols, Pill, The Damned, Buzzcock singles Going Steady, and I really liked the Pill record, and Much Music was playing the Public Image song a lot on Much Music around that time, or City Limits, I should say.
From Toronto, City TV presents City Limits, Canada's first all-night video music extravaganza.
So my first girlfriend bought me this actual cassette of the Sex Pistols. It was like the first gift, and it was like grade 6, grade 7. And I was way more into that Public Image record. So I started listening to it a lot more, and I was like, this is a really good album. It's really like more rock and roll punk than weirdo stuff like the first Pill record. So I listened to this a ton and just got way into it before the Sid and Nancy movie came out and all of that stuff. But this really meant a lot to me. So this all started because of this copy of this cassette. So I'd like to say thank you. And this is what the offspring of that could be. I think there's 71 copies of Nevermind the Bollocks that I have. I was collecting them even before I had my record store, but then when anyone would come in, I would just make sure it was a different pressing or something, so I would keep it. And then I just got obsessed with keeping every copy, like the really beat up ones, the ones that were faded out, which pressings. So the reason why I'm doing this video is the Rhino newly remastered pressing has just come out, and Mazzy did a great video on it, and Jason Roxas, I think is how you say his name, Psychedelic Horseshit, is doing back and forths with the UK pressing to the Rhino, and I'm really digging those. So the reason that this has all sparked all of that was that, but like 2 years ago, I got this, and this is the test pressing for the American stampers, which were also the Canadian stampers too. And I've looked on Grip Sweat and Pop Psych and eBay sales and Discogs, and I only see like 4 copies of this that have been sold. And this one's taped down, and you can tell it's old school tape. And underneath it, I'll do a insert. You can see like the writing, the code. I was very happy to get this. I don't know how many there are. I'm into test pressings, but only of records I really, really love. And I've done some research, so if anybody has it or knows any more information about how many were pressed, this is the US and Canada test pressing. I would love to know more information. So it's just stuck on. but I'm very happy to have one. And if anybody knows any more information, I saw 4 different ones online, and they're not this one. This one has different taping, so it's not the pressings that have been sold. And this one came from Shinjuku in Japan. And I was like, I totally am going to get this. That costs, honestly, I'll tell prices. I paid $1,500 for this on a sale at Disc Union in Japan, and I am not. I don't second guess it. I'm very happy to have it. This is a very important record. As you can see, I'm totally kind of obsessed with it over time. I just love this album, and this was the one that they confirmed. So this was October 24th, 1977. And what's funny about this test pressing, the very first, I think the first Rolling Stone with the Sex Pistols on the cover, October 20th, 1977. And I always wanted this, and I came across it in the very early 2000s. And I don't mind if my magazines are beat up and stuff. But yeah, that was the cover that I wanted, and it has like good pictures and stuff. Anyway, as in other ones of these, I have May 28th, 77, advertising the God Save the Queen single coming out. And then also, what is this? This is June 4th, 77. And this is when they're getting hassled by the cops. And that's a fun one too. Anyway, so my girlfriend got me that cassette, and from there, the first thing that I found, here it is, this bootleg. So this was them live in Texas. What's it called? The Longhorn Ball. I think it's the one that he gets the burger on his face and it's dripping down, and maybe Sid got ripped off the stage after hitting the dude with the bass, and then the fight broke out.
Yeah, the guy fucking tried to climb up on stage and fucking attack me. So I smashed his fucking brains in with my guitar.
Anyway, so I got this, and I was like, oh, this is so good. And I'm like, now, since then, I was a sucker for bootlegs, because I really like the energy and the performance over the sound quality. So I found that for $10, and that felt kind of expensive in grade 7, but I'm so glad I got it. And I was like, just blown away. I love bootlegs. I just want the energy. So when it comes back to sound quality, I have the test pressing, and the first UK pressing is yellow with the blank back, and it comes with the 7-inch of submission that's not on this record. The American one and obviously the test pressing has submission included. So they put it out again in the UK minus submission on it. So that's the second pressing. And then for America, this one, they have a sticker that says submission, even though it's definitely on there, but I guess they just, I don't know, they put the sticker. So that's kind of funny. And then this one's the first Canadian pressing with no sticker, but it's on the label. I love how beat up this is. So the first pressing Canadian, the white, the insert. But the funny thing about this is on the insert, it says Party, Mowat Street, King and Dufferin area. So I live pretty close to there, I thought that was great. So I will save this forever. Other people would have thrown this in a dollar bin because it's trashed. But I'm like, it's the first pressing and it's Toronto and there was a party that night and they probably went. So I'm like super happy to have that. And then for the rest of the pressings, they just have submission on it. So that's kind of funny. Oh yeah, I have Japanese pressing with the OB. I also have one without the OB, so I like that. After I got that bootleg, I was walking around Yonge Street like we all did, going to the head shops, and I found these two books. I'm sure this was around, but to me, I was like, oh my goodness, it's all about punk and other bands, but it had a bunch of Sex Pistols, Clash, and I was so happy it had The Damned in it, and I was like, yay! Dave Vanian's so cool. I love this. So I got that on Yonge Street, but I also bought this the same day, was this Rebel Rock book, and this book I looked at this a million times and just was like, wow, this is the best stuff ever, you know? I was like, this is so good. And it was like all of Dennis Morris's photos of the Sex Pistols. And that's how Dennis Morris became my favorite photographer, was digging deeper into what else he was shooting. So then I found out he was doing the Bob Marleys and some of the other punk bands. And he did the Johnny Rotten and Big Youth in Jamaica. He went to Jamaica with Johnny Rotten and Don Letts, probably some other people. But anyway, Dennis Morris, favorite photographer, really kicked it off with just this actual copy of it. This is my copy from grade 7. And I met Dennis Morris twice, one at his photo shows. Well, at 2 photo shows, so I met him twice those times. One was at the number 6 store, which was really cool, and they bought one of the prints with the kid with the gun. And then the Dr. Montague show, and that was great. And when he came back another time, he walked by the store, and I ran outside, and I was like, yo, Dennis Morris, Dennis Morris. And I was telling him how much I love his art, and I remember meeting him at the galleries and stuff, and then I was asking him more about the couple of rolls of film that he did in Jamaica with Johnny and all the reggae artists, and he said, well, I'm doing a show in Japan, and it's those rolls. And I was like, oh no, I go to Japan all the time, but I'm not going to be there this time. And his wife came in with him, and he took the address of the store, and a few months later he sent me the Japanese book. And it's most of those photos from Japan, but pill era. And I was like, oh, that's so wonderful. That's amazing. And yeah, so check out Dennis Morris, because he's iconic in these things. The other thing about the album is it was bootlegged heavily before it came out, called Spunk. And this is one of the pressings of this bootleg, and I've seen spray paint covers of it. This is just my cover of it. It was just handwritten like that. I've had that for a long, long time, and I think the labels, yeah, they're just black. This is circulating before Nevermind the Bollocks, but there's a bunch of those songs, but different takes. And I got this, and this is from The Record Peddler on Queen Street. And then later it moved to Yonge Street, but this is, you know, history. I should insert a little clip of that late 70s era of the record peddler. It was attached to City TV, which later became also Much Music before they moved up to the West End, and it was a very important record store. Everybody treated me like I was a little kid, because I was a little kid.
To the new music, I'm JD Roberts.
And I'm Jeannie Becker. This is the Record Peddler, a store that specializes in new wave and punk records, and it's actually become a hangout for some of the city's new wave fans.
The new wave scene now has more than just a cult following. Here at the Record Peddler, people come to check out the latest hit records, hundreds of imports, look through the trendy magazines, buy their buttons, or just hang around with friends. Most record stores rely on the sales of top 30 albums to stay alive. But at the Record Peddler, the standard fare is the Jam, the Vile Tones, the Police, the Buzzcocks, and the Clash. We asked store owner Ben what the Clash's appeal was.
They have an incredible amount of energy in their music and in their live shows. It's just phenomenal. And when the Clash play, you can't help but get up and jump around.
See you next week in the new music.
Anyway, and then this came out after. It's the Spunk on Blank. Just another one of those, like, another bootleg. So anyway, person that gave me that cassette, what year is this? I think it's like 2004 or something. Here are my concert tickets for that first reunion tour of the Sex Pistols. And you know what? I thought it would be horrible. And I was like, wow, this is a really fun show. Yeah, Wilson, Canadian Rocks. And it was $6 for us to go. It was crazy. And I was like, this is going to be terrible. They're all old. And then I was like, oh, this is so good.
Hello, Toronto.
And that was the time I saw the Sex Pistols. So this is my Sex Pistols obsession, you know, and I'm sure if one of the Sex Pistols saw this, they would probably call me a wanker or something.
You stupid little cunt.
So thank you for watching. You've seen my obsession of Nevermind the Bollocks, and hopefully this has made you smile. I was thinking about this as well. So thank you for this, and thank you guys for watching Grasshopper TV. I'm Grasshopper. Please come back and we could go through other obsessions together. Peace. Has anybody noticed that there is one record here that isn't the Sex Pistols? I'll give you one more chance to look. One record here is not the Sex Pistols. So here's the Easter egg. Funny, right? Okay, have fun. Bye.